Welcome to episode 44 of Why Not Read Alpha Flight with Tom Flynn
and Chris Baker, a podcast where we take your favorite series seriously. We've got 2 issues today, and they're weird. We're going to say that a lot this episode. Alpha Flight has shifted into what was promised to be a new format, and it is definitely a new format, and that format is weird, Tom. Am I overstating this?
I don't know that. I mean, yes, the content, the content. Part of me isn't sure if it's the weirdness is because of the content or because of the format itself or because it's such a dramatic shift from what came before. This is not on a spectrum with like the Dream Queen saga. Like it's just a very different approach to the comic.
It really feels different. Yeah.
I'm not against it by any means. It's just jarring. And also, but then you also have to factor in the fact that we know that Mantlo's run is coming to an end. So like there are a lot of things going on here that are making this feel weird, I think.
It feels like to me, as I've been reading through the last couple of issues and then the ones we're about to do, is that it feels like there are some very clear editorial mandates about not just story length, but we got to do these things. Yeah. And there's the return of the vignette structure that made Alpha Flight feel different than other books because Byrne used it in a way that made it feel different. Bill is using it, but it doesn't feel like Byrne's, you know?
No, which is fine. I don't need Mantlo to do a pale imitation of Byrne, or I wouldn't need the reverse either. But yeah, I think you're right that there are clearer road signs that are being followed here. And I don't know, there's a way in which it almost feels like Mantlo's chafing against that. It feels like the end of a run. It feels like someone is wrapping something up.
Yeah, golly, folks, this sounds like what we should be saying at the end of the episode, but no, we're just going to put this up at the front. So this is the TLDL. Too long, didn't listen, I guess.
I'm so angry you just came up with that on the spot. It's not bad, though. It's not bad.
Thank you. Apparently, the content creators say if you're doing video content, your first 60-second retention rate is absolutely brutal. And one of the things you absolutely have to do is establish that you're not doing clickbait and that you have to present an extremely clear presentation of what it is you're about to talk about. So that was my attempt to see how that feels. I assume this will be cut out as editorial later because this is how the sausage is made.
We shall see.
Yeah, that's what the people come for, Tom. Amateur podcast production advice. Well, but now on to the story so far.
Alpha Flight is disbanded and scattered to the wind. Team leader, the totally human Heather Hudson, and her fiance, the metal transmutating mutant Mr. Madison Jeffries. You know, I think he's either Madison Jeffries or Mr. Jeffries. I don't think he's ever Mr. Madison
Jeffries. Mr. Jeffries is just gone.
It's weird. I mean, maybe it's just reserved for the bedroom now. Anyway, they're staying at Heather's parents' house while they prepare for their wedding. Little Cara I broke Chris. Little Cara Kilgrave, 13 years old, a.k.a. the Purple Girl, brought the Dean twins, Laura and Goblin, home to her mother. Dr. Whitman Knapp finally took a boat off of Epstein Island, though to be fair, wherever he is kind of Epstein Island, and returned to medicine as if he wasn't just bonking a 13-year-old.
Sasquatch, a.k.a. secret agent linebacker superhero Dr. Walter Langkowski, has had a rough re-engagement with the real world since coming back to life as Wanda Langkowski and realizing she is not just Walter in a different body. This has resulted in some serious soul-searching as well as legal complications as she tries to save Alpha Flight's future by securing Walter's fortune from the greedy clutches of his ex-wife, Veronica.
Well, that was efficient.
It was, wasn't it? Like the book has really clearly broken down into this. And again, talking about returning to form, the team is disbanded. They're not all living at Mansion Alpha. They're not acting like that superhero team at the beginning of the Bill Mantlo run. This is Carl Potts saying, hey, we're taking Alpha Flight back to formula. Let's get the team apart for a little while. Let's do some vignettes and pull it together. I want you to go back and look at the first 12 issues of these structures and do it more like this. And Bill's like, yeah, sure thing, boss, because that's what Bill does, you know? That's what we're getting, is these kind of single character focused issues with the vignettes woven through. They're just handled by somebody who barely knows how to handle them. I'm sorry to say it that way, but there's not the deftness and light that Byrne did with this. Bill is doing it. Byrne used a scroll saw. Bill is using a chainsaw.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a reasonable way of putting it. I don't feel like Mantlo is especially comfortable in this format, and it's it doesn't feel comfortable. That's a good way of putting it, but I can't put my finger on why. Yeah, nor can I. But like going back to what we were talking about at the start, like it just feels awkward and odd. But you know, that's just what we're dealing with. But I'm enjoying it. You know, yeah. These are two of the last three issues that we'll get from Bill. So let's get into it. Kicking things off with
Alpha Flight number 64, which the cover calls God War, but inside is titled Where There's a Will, There's a Way. Cover date November 1988. Writer is Bill Mantlo. Breakdown penciler is Jim Lee. Finisher is Al Milgrom. Letterer is Janice Chiang. Colorist is Bob Sharen. Editor is Carl Potts. Associate editor is Marc McLaurin. And Tom DeFalco is editor in Quirer.
I feel like they already did that one. DeFalco, if you're going to do this, just like fucking commit, okay? Like be creative, all right? Just
maybe Marc McLaurin's job is just to sit over Bill's shoulder while he's writing, and whenever Knapp gets in the same room as Kara, Marc McLaurin's job is just to pull the sheet of paper out of the typewriter.
Oh, I was going to say he like slaps, with a ruler Bill's hand. Like
just no.
Or squirts him with a water bottle.
We have talked.
On the cover, Sasquatch is looking astonishingly at Snowbird, and Tundra is attacking him from behind, and there's bones on the ground, and the aforementioned God War in that kind of bony, visceral art.
It's not a pretty cover. It's not a cover that a kid looks at and says, "Oh, this looks fun," you know. It's nice to see Snowbird again, though, and Jim Lee finally establishes what's under the cape for us.
Thanks, Jim. Splash page open of Sasquatch's white hand holding up a very cliched Last Will and Testament of Walter Langowski. I would love it if they didn't have the first K in there. That would make my life so much better. Leading into a double splash page of Sasquatch standing in court saying,
"Sure, Ronnie gets my dough if I'm dead, Judge, but I ain't." Before we get too far, Tom, it looks like one of the people watching the proceedings is Clark Kent. Did you notice that?
I did notice that.
Second, looking at Ronnie, man, Walt really did have a type, didn't he?
Third, I think appearing as Sasquatch in court is a good opening move for Wanda because that's something that looks like something that Walt used to turn into. And now that I've said it out loud, having read it in the script, it sounds dumb. But you know what? It might still be better than showing up as a woman in a red magical leotard. Though, they wouldn't know it was magic until they saw her change back and forth, man. Just saying.
Know what? I hadn't really thought about it when I typed it. I was just calling it magic, like narrative convenience magic. But since Wanda's body is made up of, like, I guess the magic of the immortals and Snowbird and all of that, maybe it is literal magic that puts the leotard on her. And Walt just never had access to that. He had to grow his fuzzy briefs,
I'm really ready for us to move on from this part of the conversation.
Once again, an Alpha Flight member uses their superpowers to start a fight with a table in a courtroom, and no one says anything more than "Order! Order!" Clearly, Bill Mantlo has been spending some time in court, and he's apparently doing public defender work at this time, and that's bleeding into his day job, I guess. His night job? Which is his day job and which is his night job?
I don't know, but I think it's almost guaranteed that Bill Mantlo watched Night Court. Like, had to have.
Began in 1984.
I did. Like, that's such a good show. I miss it.
Where were we?
Well, we were getting to the point where the judge wanted some proof that Wanda is actually Walter, and that's that's fair.
That's literally
That's kind of their job is to establish proof of what's going on, of claims, like substantiate claims. I don't know, just my thoughts.
Wanda briefly considers telling them she had a sex change operation because it's simpler than the truth, which weird. Like we said, these issues are weird, before discarding the idea because she wouldn't have medical records.
It's one of the it's like a panel, and it's one of the wildest panels I've ever encountered. Like, it's just like the situation is bizarre. It is complicated, right? Like, it's a complicated setup, but it's also probably like the most. I sometimes think of Walt's thoughts as thoughts in Wanda's head that are clearly Walt thoughts, more as like what her intrusive thoughts are. Like, her intrusive thoughts are simply her thinking as Walter Langowski. Like, that's how, and that was very much a Walt thought process. But
well, she doesn't seem to have thought this whole appearing in court thing through. She just sort of showed up. She doesn't have any legal representation, and with the brains of Walter and the life experience of Snowbird running through her veins, Wanda appears to be fucked in the competent advice department.
Ronnie's solicitor, Mr. Cavendish, proposes to establish what Wanda is with a never-before-mentioned life-form identifier machine, which was designed by one Dr. Walter Langowski himself. There's at least 3 different times that would have been very useful, yet here we are, meeting it for the first time.
Wanda straps in, and the machine spits out its analysis as male, female, human, non-human, mortal, immortal. To which Cavendish says, look, lady, whatever you are, this thing says part of you ain't human. Walt was all human, so case closed. Give me my money, honey. That's not what he actually says.
I can't even begin to express how confused I was by the idea that a machine could differentiate mortal or immortal. It's just
right. Like,
oh, this is why we haven't met it before, because it's the dumbest machine ever imagined.
It's the Deus Ex machine. Like, that's what it's here for.
Ugh. Wanda wins this round because the judge just straight up rejects the machine's analysis as its unproven technology, and also probably because she felt dumber for having even let it happen in her courtroom. This is totally a thing, and is part of why you get a lawyer for some traffic tickets, just to get things tossed for clear procedural errors.
My sister got that done because they were using LiDAR instead of radar, which is a laser based instead of radar based. And it hadn't actually been proven in front of this specific court yet. And so her lawyer was able to come before the judge and be like, hey, the only evidence you got came from a machine that hasn't been proven in court yet. Do you want to prove that machine's efficiency with me, or do you just want to let this one go? And the judge said, fine, get out of my courtroom. At least it was worth it back in the old days before AI-powered surveillance cameras writing tickets on their own and mailing them to you with no human involved. Thanks, Cedar Rapids, Iowa.
That felt both personal and pointed.
Oh, very much both.
So Wanda takes a lie detector test right then and there and tells the whole story, which is not how lie detector tests work. It's a very convenient way to get the recap worked in, because you always got to have the recap, even if it's for the umpteenth fucking time. I mean, seriously, I get it. You want every issue to be someone's onboarding issue, but really, does it need to be?
Well, okay, I'm going to address that point later on, so we'll come back to that.
Hearing Wanda say it all out loud in court, it sounds just as outlandish as the totally made up story of JMH traveling 4,000 years into the past and meeting aliens on Jupiter.
Tom, about that being totally made up.
Chris, I swear to God, it is March of 2026 and the last 2 months have felt like 2 years. Do not try me today.
All right, friend. And the judge is now in the position of having to decide whether to accept the polygraph results or to rule in Ronnie's favor, because clearly those are the only options here. She retires to her chambers to think it over and finds what appears to be the cigarette-smoking man from X-Files.
It's so weird.
It's a Canadian national security guy wearing, I believe, sunglasses in a dark room and who's just smoking a cigarette in her room. And I can't, it's so rude to smoke in someone's space like that. Like, that just blows my mind every time I see it. Gary Cody was the same way, right?
Maybe he is Gary Cody.
No, this is not Gary Cody. He doesn't have a beard. That's Gary Cody's thing. He's beardo. He's Canadian beardo.
Gary can't shave? That's his curse?
Gary has whatever that military waiver is so that you don't have to shave because you get shave bumps.
Okay. All right. I thought you were going for like Gary's actually a Sikh.
That should be his nickname. He's just referred to as Form whatever, but whatever the Canadian version is of that. But I gotta be honest, that is more research than I think I'm gonna actually.
We've spent entirely too much time talking about Gary Cody.
Where were we?
I will say that while we've established that Chris Carter of X-Files fame is not Canadian, we can absolutely claim him as an Alphan at this point. Like, there's no way in hell that he did not read this and be like, huh. That's a thought.
What if this guy just keeps showing up randomly?
Oh my God. Now my headcanon is that the X-Files is actually like a U.S. investigation of Alpha Flight's activities in the U.S. Like every time it's like, it's fucking Alpha doing something and no one wants to tell Mulder that, no, man, we know exactly what this is those Canadian assholes. They have no control over that team. None whatsoever. The cigarette smoking man is there to inform the judge that she must rule in Ronnie's favor because if Wanda gets a hold of the money, then Alpha Flight comes back and Alpha Flight has walked away from the Canadian government and they don't like that and they've got a new team set up and it's a lot of setup and
it feels like the X-Files.
but also posing like a moral problem for the judge that isn't ever explored and is actually kind of disposed of pretty quickly. So
it's interesting that it's brought up, and I'm giving credit where it's due, okay?
Yeah, well, it's also clearly a setup for what comes next. Like, this is an indication of what's going to be happening after Bill's run. And that's fine, but and it's well drawn. It's just kind of weird.
You're right. This is an indication of what's coming after Bill's run. This would be the injection of, I guess, a D plot in an effort to have these things build on each other instead of the madcap pace that Bill was doing for the month-to-month market. So, scene change to the totally used to be real place of Etobicoke, a then suburb of Toronto, but here is listed as, and I quote, a suburb of Canada.
I mean, that's us. We are a suburb of Canada. We're the worst suburb of Canada. There's suburbs of every city, and the further out you go, the worse they get, and the more they are actually like just towns. And yeah, this is...
I wholeheartedly agree with you that there are suburbs of cities. I disagree with you that there are suburbs of nations, Tom.
I'm calling the U.S. a suburb of Canada, is what I'm saying.
I know.
We're moving right along. Bill, I say this sincerely. Dude, come on.
Where little Kara Kilgrave and Laura Dean are rushing off to catch the school bus while Kara's mom restrains Goblin, who wants to follow them like a really, really ugly Labrador.
Kara promises she and Laura will take Goblin to obedience class later that day, and Laura comments, she's now talking, I guess. I guess the Dream Queen stuff snapped her out of her autism. Jesus Christ. Anyway, Laura says that Goblin almost hit the litter box that morning, so it's now canon that Kara's mom is, in fact, potty training Goblin. And I can't tell if we're supposed to treat her like an animal or like a human. She's a mutant. But an animal?
Man, where's Wolverine when you need him?
I have a very strange feeling he might end up killing Goblin if they were to meet.
Or taking her on like a pet, like Sabretooth with Wild Child in Age of Apocalypse.
No, just kill her. The bus seems to intentionally leave the purple girl and her weird new sibling when Kara commands,
"Stop."
And the bus driver goes purple and lets them on board. The other students whisper among themselves about that grape-colored creep when Kara says,
"I'm sure the driver wasn't bypassing my pal and me on purpose, and I'll bet the rest of you are going to be just as pleasant as Punch to us on the way to school." Right?
The narration box under that says her classmates have learned not to argue with the purple girl. And that's just weird, not great. Like,
Yeah.
Look. A 13-year-old like Kara, having the life experience that she's had so far and the powers she's got and trying to reintegrate into like a school, this is not at all surprising to me. Is probably the best representation of what a 13-year-old would do in this scenario. Like, this is actually writing like a 13-year-old and not like a 19-year-old dating a doctor. It still kind of sucks, though, that this is how she's using her powers.
Well, and it seems like there's almost an acceptance of it by the school. Like, if your school cares about bullying, I think that mentally commanding people to do something that they are unable to not do counts as bullying, you know? And I mean, I guess props on the school district for trying to help make a space for this kid to be able to learn how to be normal. And her experience with Alpha Flight was all about learning how to be more responsible with it than her first instincts were. And she has learned that over the course of this. You know, there has been real growth in Kara on that part of her learning that with great power comes great responsibility, though nobody has said that, and I'm disappointed.
Yeah, well, I mean, no one's going to quote Spider-Man after the way he clearly had no interest in them the last time they met him. I just want to make...
Yes, Alpha Flight has a clear, hard anti-Spider-Man
very clear.
stance.
Just absolutely fuck that guy. I want to just...
He's a menace.
I want to make two... Yeah, they're very much like J. Jonah stands.
Yeah, they're watching his weird podcast, you know, from the latest iteration. Oh, he tells it like it is.
They're watching it on Box's chest. No, I just want to make 2 points about Kara and the bullying situation. A, this is the late 80s. Ain't no one give a shit about bullying at that stage. Just, it isn't happening. And two, there is a value to a benevolent bully in a school setting. Having one kid with some decent morals who can shut some of the other kids down, we could use more of that.
I'm going to punch you now. You're going to get in trouble.
Okay.
Like,
there is something to be said for that. Yeah.
There is. Okay. Thank you. That was a good point.
Moving right along.
Another scene change to Dr. Whitman Knapp doing doctor stuff, but fuck him, who cares?
Another scene change to Box, a.k.a. Madison Jeffries, landing at his soon-to-be in-law's house. He phases out of the armor and sneaks up on Heather while she rakes leaves, only to find out it's actually Becky, her little sister. Heather here says there are 9 McNeil siblings, plus apparently lives with 2 young men for most of their childhood, too.
You know, I recall her saying she had all brothers before, but, you know, comics, everybody. Becky's a convenient gag for 4 panels, and this establishes, without saying a word, that the McNeils are
also
Catholic.
Just want to comment or point out that it is referenced that, Heather never takes the battle suit off.
Yeah, her mom mentions you don't take it off.
She's in flannels and jeans, just sort of hanging out, but underneath there, it is the battle suit, and that's just...
Maybe it stinks.
Dude, I have been making that joke for episodes that Heather must smell awful at this point.
It has nothing to do with the battle suit. If she was wearing anything this often and it smelled like
Absolutely.
this, they'd be like, honey, you need to take off the unicorn onesie. I know I can't see it, but I can smell
fully
it.
Agree that anything worn that long will smell. But on top of that, she's got like alien blood like worked into the seat. Like it's just not a good.
It's not alien.
Okay, fine. Whatever.
It's just rocks on sex spot.
No, I was actually thinking about like Bedlam's, which he isn't an alien. He's a human mutate, whatever. But Bedlam's like immune system shit in Boxes when Box is a spaceship. Like that's got to be all worked up. You know what? I don't want to talk about the battle suit anymore right now.
But just important to say, even her mother has noticed that she doesn't take it off, and apparently idly strokes it from time to time, just like Tom creepily predicted.
I am worried at how much I'm guessing about this run. It makes me unsettled a little bit. Another scene change to Ottawa, where the Chinese citizen Daeguan is being interrogated by the top men of Canadian National Security. He Jade Dragons out, and we see he's under observation by a Chinese team sent to get him back, which seems to be led by Lady Deathstrike, despite her being Japanese.
That looked like her, right? With the headband, or
No,
am I jumping
no.
to?
That's what I thought too. And I'm just going to say, come on, Bill, please don't do this, man. Please.
Scene change back to the courtroom and a very glum-looking Wanda waiting to hear the ruling. Again, the art, absolutely top-notch through here. When suddenly she's slammed to the floor with some kind of trance and weird eyes. Mr. Cavendish says, "Oh my God, she's had some sort of attack." And Ronnie replies,
But no matter how the judge decides, the money's mine.
Cavendish replies, "Veronica, even I am shocked by that statement."
Okay, so what comes next is...
He's got that rich asshole look to him. He sounds like half the dads of the dudes we went to college with.
I feel like you're doing... yes, that is correct.
He sounds like Rory Gilmore's grandpa.
Oh, yeah.
And then
it's really unfortunate. Every time I see that actor, all I can think of is Max from The Lost Boys.
That is very unfortunate because that would make the Gilmore Girls a very different show.
Wouldn't it? Wouldn't that actually be really cool?
Gilmore Girls and
They
ghouls.
talk so fast because they don't know if this is their last breath or not. Anyway, what follows with Wanda on the ground is, guys, I'm sorry, we were saying this a lot this episode, but it's just the right word. It's just weird. It's weird.
Definitely weird. Wanda says, "So many people inside me, so many beings I've been, and all of a sudden, they all won out." And a bunch of energy comes streaming out of Wanda's body, and it's the great beasts, and Snowbird, and her family.
For the record, Wanda/Walt has been many things, but not most of these things.
How were these things inside of her? She hasn't been these
saying
beings.
That she's a portal or some sort of gateway because of what she is and what she's comprised of.
Yeah, which is what the narration
totally, but
says.
For her it's just whatever.
Yeah, we get another demand that Wanda choose whether to side with the beasts or the immortals, and Wanda, again, rejects either side, but only wants someone? I think it was a great beast, but I did have to reread it to make sure it wasn't Snowbird's dad or grandpa. Someone puts their hands around Veronica's throat, causing Sasquatch to say, "Ronnie, hey, pal, get your meat hooks off my wife!" And she collapses into a state of darkness, not unlike death. We're really hitting this fast. There's a lot that I want to pick apart, but you got to kind of absorb the whole thing first. So, a darkness not unlike death, which for a Deathwalker like Walt is not unfamiliar, but also terrifying because you more intimately know what's going on than someone who's never been there.
That is until a woman's hands touch Sasquatch's temples from off panel and a voice says, "Be yourself, be strong, be free."
And the world lights up again. Sass says, "Thanks, lady, whoever you are, for dispelling my darkness." With a newfound sense of self and a lot of rage, Sass smashes all the shit up. Beasts, gods, courtroom, just smash.
We should play a clip of The Damned and their 1979 classic, Smash It Up, whenever we hit the stipulated Sasquatch smashes shit scene, which I dare you to say 5 times fast.
I had to look up a synonym to make sure stipulated got in there. I do respect the energy of the Offspring brought to their 1995 cover for the Batman Forever soundtrack.
Banger of a soundtrack, actually.
It is, and that's the first time I heard that song, so it was a little bit difficult to rewind back to the Damned version because it's it's got a bit more energy. It's a little newer, a little fresher, a little more sensible to the modern ear. But then again, Rock died in 1996.
The judge looks around her smashed courtroom and rules in Ronnie's favor. I mean, yes, rules in Ronnie's favor also because Wanda gives up all claim. Decides that they basically decides that everything that came before needs to be left in the past. It's time to start a new life, and that includes the fortune. And I'm sure that's not going to cause Heather to want to kill her, but there it is.
So Sasquatch leaves the courtroom complaining of being broke, practically kicking rocks as she goes along.
Rocks made of the rubble of her smashing spree. and she wonders about
that strange chick who helped me during
who
the
turns
battle.
out to be Aurora. I mean, I hope my voice work gave that away. Who is a nun now? And her light powers are more than just light. They're a metaphorical light. She's a light cleric now. And she speaks in a phonetic accent that is just shy of being a hate crime.
And we end with 2 more panels of Elizabeth, 2 young men fucking around in the archaeology dig, and, in the final panel, the face of the Dream Queen laughing. So, that suddenly helps focus some things a little bit more about what's going on here, but I have a nit to pick with that one panel. But backing up just a touch, another thing that Alpha Flight did first, Shadowheart. Because Aurora being a light cleric with healing, she just reminded me a lot of Shadowheart in this thing, but you haven't played the game.
Nope,
so
have not. This issue contained a fairly... It wasn't a dream sequence, though. What was the dream sequence?
When Wanda collapses in the courtroom into her trance-like state, and then suddenly all this stuff is happening, is it literally happening?
Yes. I mean, they say the courtroom is transformed. Like, and when the judge walks out, like everyone's interacting with it. It isn't just happening inside Wanda's head. And then when she rejects the great,
it's a little
look. It is not.
No, I mean it matters because it's a bit unclear in the way the story is told.
It's very unclear.
But if this is a dream, like that Wanda is seeing in her head, and as far as everybody else is concerned, they have no clue what's going on. I find that very funny, but it does seem to be that other people can see it because the judge comes out and it shows like the judge's door and her walking out into the God scene. So, like, I mean, I guess the Dream Queen would have the power to induce a dream in Sasquatch, move through Sasquatch, just like the dream was implying, like a portal, and then cause that dream to manifest around them. And that seems to be what happened here.
Yes. I mean, and I didn't make that precise connection when reading it, that maybe this is the Dream Queen's influence, and that maybe that's also what's going on with the previous issue with Kara and what's to come in the next issue. Like,
yeah, and that's exactly what it is, and that's why the Dream Queen's face is there, but we didn't need it there, we need it at the end of
as
the
an
next
understanding
issue.
of what's happening here, yeah, I think that the Dream Queen digging into the various Alphans and making manifest some of their worst fears as a way to loop her back in, especially since her defeat wasn't exactly a clear defeat. I mean, she's one of the few Alphan villains that didn't just get killed. Like at the end of their defeat, so
yeah, Heather wasn't close enough.
Like
to
she's probably still knocking around and interested in getting out. So yeah, no, that's interesting.
She is the recurring villain of Alpha Flight. Like the Master does come back and is part of the culmination of Volume 1, but that feels like a return to formula that didn't need to happen. That in this middle era of Alpha Flight, the Dream Queen is where it's at, and this is the villain, and nobody knows her outside of Alpha Flight readers.
Well, I mean,
I don't think she
also
pops up
like
anywhere
the perfect
else.
villain for this version of Alpha Flight because they ain't got no mystics, they ain't got no they got no magic to deal with this lady. She's like right. she's very well designed to handle this team of Canadian superheroes.
Yeah, she's here because they're easy pickings. Well, let's dive right on into Alpha Flight number 65, titled When Robots Dream, cover date December 1988. Same credits as last time, except Hugh Haynes is guest penciler and Al Milgrom is inker.
And Tom DeFalco is Somnambulist in Chief, which is weird, but I guess it's in theme for this and the other issues as discussed. On the cover, Heather is down and out on the ground with Madison standing above her, facing off against his own box armor, but it's like, I don't know, 50 feet tall and has big scary spikes on it, and a text box blares, "Box out of control." And Chris, didn't we literally do this kind of story 2 issues ago? Better way of putting it, last episode?
Yes, but we're doing it again. But what about second issue where Box is out of control?
But what about second issue where Box is out of control? Anyway, splash page opening of the familiar...
That was the worst Hobbit voice. Yeah. I loved it.
there's a splash page opening of the familiar box armor being attacked by Roger Box, and by God, King, is that Scramble?
You didn't say it.
Oh.
I set it up so you could...
And by God, King, is that Scramble?
No, Tom, it's not. It's Omega, the combined forms of...
Scramble!
There you go, do it again. And Box, yet Roger is there in his wheelchair charging at the multi-ton war robot like he's going to do something. Maybe it's like a pawn getting turned into a queen. He reaches the armor and he can take it from Madison. It's a shoot the moon strategy.
I feel like that's really mean, but I can nail down why. The script says I can't nail down why, but I think we all know why. But yes, that's exactly Roger's strategy in this dream fight Madison finds himself in before he wakes up screaming. Was that what that is? It's a weird sound effect unless it's somehow electronic screechings.
It's Madison's O sound.
This is the worst thing you've ever done.
Worse than the sound of Ted Cruz pushing flaccid penises out of his wrists like Wolverine claws?
Yeah, it actually might be worse than that. Oh, God. This friendship. This is, yeah, that's a weird issue, guys, to put it lightly. It's well constructed and paced. It's a very moody mystery. It's meaty. It is. It's just also a lot of what we just did 2 issues ago, 1 episode ago, as well as deeply fucked up.
You know, it's what 2 issues ago was, but without that fun Goodfellas technomancer, Henry Hill voice. You know, that part really added a layer that was fun onto this. And instead of that, they pulled that out and they made it very psychological and deep and moody. And that's okay. And that's a great story to tell. It's just, you just did
in
this.
Tandem, it's actually kind of telling an interesting story about Madison. Like, that issue where he is on the Air Force Base is demonstrating just how powerful Madison Jeffries is. This issue is going into how fucking dangerous it is that he's that powerful, you know?
This issue is explaining why he had a good stint at the clinic for socially maladjusted superheroes.
Yes. But it's also an issue that you kind of need to read to get a lot of it. There's a lot of panel work that's like Madison's face tortured as he's thinking through things. I mean, it's really, we can only do so much in terms of describing the issue to get a real sense of the feel of it.
This would have made a great, terrible radio play.
It needs a lot of sound effects. It needs, it's moody. It's a mood piece. And that's the kind of thing that kind of needs to be absorbed in the format and presentation that it's delivered in.
So we'll kind of skip you through what happens, but if you're interested by what we've described so far, I highly recommend reading this issue. Just
you can totally pick up the Bill Mantlo omnibus. It should be in that or on Marvel Unlimited. All the issues are up there.
Yeah, I'm not sure if it's on Marvel Unlimited. I believe that's spottier than we
so
might
hopefully it's on Marvel
so.
Unlimited or, other means.
The cover's by Jim Lee, so it should probably be in your dollar bin at whatever your local comic shop is.
You know what? I don't know about that. That's probably spottier than Marvel Unlimited.
Yeah, unless you're looking for number 51 and 53.
Exactly.
So we start with Madison having a dream about the fighting Roger and fighting Omega at the same time, even though Roger is part of Omega. He's got a lot of guilt. That's the through line of this whole story, is that Madison is being racked with guilt about having killed his brother and his best friend, who were both murderous supervillains.
Well, and he does make clear that he didn't have much of a choice, but he's also thinking through, like, okay, did I really just want the box armor? And by getting the box armor, is that what got me Heather? At the same time, Heather is pondering why she continues to wear the battle suit. Is it a connection to Mac? No, I don't think it's a connection to Mac. I think it's because you keep what you kill, and because she wants at any moment to be able to, like, kill. Quite frankly, like, her bloodlust is unsated. Let's put it that way.
Well, as Madison awakes from his dream, Heather is not wearing the suit, but she is wearing what appears to be a lingerie teddy, I guess. It's a one-piece sexy swimsuit for bedtime. That's a teddy, right? But it just seems it's very out of character for Heather.
I mean, I don't. You know what?
There's a reason I'm bringing this up.
I hope so, because I really don't want to go down. Like, I really want to stay out of their bedroom for so many reasons.
Yeah. Later on, when he says "stick it in your oil pan,"
God damn it!
Like,
I knew you were gonna bring that up. As soon as I read it, I'm like, oh, this is gonna be a thing. fuck my life. So, Jesus.
Madison soups up Mr. McNeil's car, and
gets
Mr.
an
McNeil
erection.
says, "Oh, it's running great." For the first time in 15 years.
No, and Madison says, got an erection as he souped it up. Oh. But no, the Mr. McNeil thing could also be true. Like, I mean, oh, God.
Anyway, Madison says, "Oh yeah, it should be good for a while now," and he thinks like a century or so since I transmutated in a maintenance-free motor. Like, okay, so wait, he transmutates Mr. McNeil's engine into something that is maintenance-free. Like, what's going to happen? Is there still a fuel gauge? Does it always say full, so he just never pulls over to try to put in gas? Is there
Setting all that aside, where is the funding problem? Like, why is there a funding problem when Madison can simply you do it once, you make a fleet of cars for a charge that are maintenance free, and you only get to do it once because now they're maintenance free, but that's a lot of money for a lot of cars, and then boom, funded, move on with your day. So while Madison is quietly and unawarely fixing Alpha Flight's money problem, Heather is prattling along about hearing from Kara, Nap, and Sass.
They're driving Mr. McNeil's car along, and they do a good job of showing how Madison is distracted and not engaged, and how, you know, the wife is driving and talking about this, that, and the other, because when you're driving, that's what you like to do. But when you're riding, you don't always want to be engaged in the same way. You just kind of want to think, and that's where Madison's at. Like we said, this is moody and whatnot. So she's, filling us in on Kara's school hijinks, which include when a girl is mean to her, she tells the girl to, and I'm sorry, Tom's age-appropriate daughter, but here you go. Suck my sweat socks till they're clean, bimbo.
Yeah, we're just going to leave your voice in. I'm not making her say that.
Thank you. I feel like that's better because I got to tell you, that's weird, Bill. That's weird.
No 13, 14, 15-year-old is going to say that specifically. Yeah.
Man, I am real glad that there's not a browser history in 1988 because otherwise we would have to have checked Bill's because that is a suspiciously specific command, Bill.
Nap is at the hospital. Who cares? I think as far as we know, he hasn't killed anyone and he isn't sleeping with an underage girl, so we're just going to leave that as a win.
He escaped. He's got no consequences coming his way. And Sasquatch is MIA, having apparently gone out, disappearing somewhere. We're assuming in the wilderness. It was nice to see Sasquatch running on the knuckles again, though. I don't think we've seen that since the very early days. And then we get another page of Chinese National Daeguan and his frustration with the Canadian confinement. It's essentially the same page we had last issue.
That's really just there to remind us that Daeguan is still in this book and will be dealt with at some point, but it seems like not by Bill.
Yeah, but it's not doing anything with these interludes. They're just there. Again,
placeholders, just to remind us who's where, what's going on, and then we'll maybe check in on one of them in the next issue or something. We'll see.
Yeah. There's a big catastrophe that seems to have been caused by the box armor that Madison does not consciously remember being in or doing on their way to Heather getting fitted for her wedding dress and specifically being fitted for it over her battle suit.
I mean, just get married in the battle suit, man. Like, come on. I don't know. It's just...
I wish it would have like the maple leaf detailing on the outside. Just, have the lace work done to imply the everything. That would have been a really cool piece on the bodice of this dress. But no, instead of that, when Heather comes out to show Madison what it is, the bodice is the aforementioned teddy that she was wearing, which is for some reason on the outside of the dress. And I don't understand what is happening.
Yeah, it's all very confusing. I wanted to point out one thing that we didn't mention was that when Madison woke up from his nightmare at the beginning of the issue, Heather was coming into the room. They were in separate rooms because, of course, they're not married. It's a Catholic household, so they have separate rooms. And I think that was actually a really nice touch. I thought that was interesting.
So wait, she walked down the hallway
absolutely.
wearing that?
That's acceptable. But staying in the same room, absolutely not.
The happy couple is on their way home, encounters some disaster. Madison gets all shell-shocky because, remember, he is also a Vietnam veteran. There's a lot going on in Madison's head that I don't think Heather really truly
understands. Know how much they really know each other. Just going to put that out there.
Yeah. Yeah. They had that space adventure, and it was fun, and lots of her sitting on his lap. But anyway, at this current disaster, Madison sees a footprint from the box armor because apparently he has highly distinctive feet treads.
Which is fine, makes sense, whatever. Driving back from the bridal shop, Madison drifts off again, and once again, nightmares about Omega / Roger, taking over the bot.
Oh, it's horrible. The box armor and Omega are mixed together into this mean robot and this Lovecraftian bio stuff. Oh, it's got mind flayer tentacles.
Bill is definitely watching some anime at this point. I don't think. Jim probably was. I don't think Evangelion was out yet, but it has a real grotesque Evangelion vibe to it. Yeah, not pleasant.
He transmutates the supercar into a version of the box armor and then goes about trying to kill Heather. Because Madison's not okay.
And it's literally Madison talking. And he's arguing with himself from inside of the box armor about what he's doing. Why is he doing this? But he's going to do it. And on and on. He shoots at a plane in order to distract Heather long enough to land a hit. She comments that her battlesuit is so powerful that there's no way that Box could actually hurt her, which is an interesting statement that's never been stated before.
Yeah. Also, Heather is wearing jorts with a quick release mechanism so that she can release her costume from underneath, which had to be custom made.
I'm wondering sometimes, given that she's wearing Delphine Courtney, if there is some sort of transforming property to the battlesuit.
No, they specifically show her taking off her clothes several times this issue to reveal the suit underneath. You had picked up on this subtextually, and they are making it textual.
I was kind of hoping that the teddy was actually the battlesuit, but anyway.
Oh, I bet Madison could shrink it down.
Okay, you know what? I'm the one that said I didn't want to get in the bedroom, and I'm dragging us right back in. I'm sorry. We're done. This part of the conversation is done. Madison eventually phases out of the armor and is trying to defend Heather, who is now down, and apparently her suit isn't stronger than the box armor. When he discovers that the armor itself can't hurt them, it won't hurt him. It can't actually finish the job. And he eventually determines that it's not a haunting that's going on here, or rather, it's a haunting of his own subconscious and guilt.
What it really felt like was we had established before that when he had his time at the clinic for the socially maladjusted superheroes, Madison did the work. He read the books. He thought about this stuff. He was really into the self-improvement and making himself better. And he kind of references this that, okay, Madison, you know this stuff. This is okay. We got to get through this in our own head. And I respect him for it. It's just, we just had an issue where he wasn't in control of the armor and had to go make a second set and fight it and all this. It's just like Bill took that issue, took out the awesome parts of it, and layered over this Madison psychological drama like something from David Lynch. You know?
And it's not bad. It's just again, a bit of a retread from, I mean, if there were 4 or 5 issues separating this out, it would feel a little bit different, but it does just feel like we're ticking off boxes. We're getting issues done before there's a handoff.
I do think it's better that it was handled in 2 different issues instead of like just combining them into one, having the Technomancer going on and also having Madison having all of this guilt and these thoughts and questioning whether it's him or somebody else. And then at the end of that issue, having it be ambiguous for Madison, which actions were done by the Technomancer and which were his guilt. I'm glad we didn't do that. Kind of like with, did Mac make Wolverine that gets played out forever and ever and ever? That moral ambiguity that Bill really traded in early on. I'm glad that didn't.
Well, he's also not going to character assassinate his favored character. So there is that.
He does have Bill.
At the
armor.
end of the issue, Madison has reasserted control of the armor. He has let go of a good bit of his guilt, and problem solved. The problem is solved. He solved the problem. The problem solved.
Now, if you're the Canadian government, though, Alpha Flight just launched a terrorist attack on
just committed terrorism, like an aggressive form of terrorism,
and then probably fucked on the ground underneath.
In the wreckage, yeah.
Like the Canadian government is terrifying in the Marvel 616, but
they might have a reason to be.
I don't remember Tony Stark ever shooting down a civilian or trying to shoot down a civilian airliner, though maybe he did in Civil War. He did a lot of war crimes.
Also, to be fair, Tony Stark also wouldn't remember if he had shot down an airliner. One last bit from this issue. It does end with Elizabeth, 2 young men, once again at the archaeology dig, where she is sketching out the pile of rocks that's emerged. And one of the other folks on the dig asks her why she made it glow. And she is surprised that it is not glowing, that she did draw it glowing. She's clearly in some sort of a fugue type state.
It's the same thing we got before.
It's a placeholder.
It's a placeholder. Yeah. It feels like these interludes don't propel the story. You know, they insert the B and C plot, but they don't propel the story.
Again, they are placeholders. They're clearly, we know that we are about to, next episode we'll be doing Mantlo's final issue. We know that Mantlo is about to end his run. So this is clearly from editorial saying this is what's going to come next. So we need you to set these things up. And so he's just laying them in there so that the reader remembers what's going on. There's a sense that this is something that's going to happen, and that's it.
Well, and there was prep work with him several issues ahead of when he took over. So I'm glad that there's at least a plan, I'm absolutely digging this new format that was promised. And without getting too deep into the weeds, this format came as Alpha Flight shifted into a different distribution system for comics. Instead of being on spinner racks in grocery stores or what have you, it's only available to essentially comic shops, the specialized retailers who are doing pre-orders. So the pre-orders from known fans and buyers are what are driving this, not new readers grabbing it randomly because the cover.
So why do we need a recap every fucking issue?
Well, that recap is necessary for the character growth of Wanda in this issue. Or in the first issue. The second issue is not so much recap as diving into Madison individually. And in Kara's issue, it's diving into the Purple Man more and connecting it to some more Marvel history stuff.
That's fair enough. That's fair.
Yeah. Okay. And you know what? We're gonna leave it at that because they're weird. That's the last time we're going to say.
Why Not Read Alpha Flight is brought to you by listeners like you who subscribe to our Patreon, and from Roxxon Civil Technologies, leaders in the field of AI-powered traffic and surveillance cameras. And if you need in-the-bedroom surveillance, well, Roxxon has had that all squared away since 1979.
Dude.
And from the Excelsior Embroidery Company, turning thread into thunder with great comics-themed patches like the new classic Captain America shield design, reinterpreted in white, pink, and blue. Available for order now, so you're all set for Trans Day of Visibility on March 31st, 2026. See this and hundreds more designs at excelsiorembroidery.etsy.com, where listeners of Why Not can use the coupon code WN503 to get 50% off any 3 items in the store.
Why Not Read Alpha Flight with Chris and Tom is recorded in Chicago, Illinois, and deep beneath stately Baker Manor in a fashionable neighborhood outside St. Louis. It is written by Chris Baker, edited by Tom Flynn, with additional cat noises courtesy of Teeny the Chunky Calico, and featuring Tom's age-appropriate daughter when the dialogue isn't creepy. Our theme song is "Oh Canada" by Five Iron Frenzy. New episodes are released every second and fourth Monday of the month at thewhynotpod.com and wherever you get your podcasts, where ratings and reviews are always welcome as a way to help our community grow. And we love hearing from our community. You can reach us on Blue Sky, Instagram, and by email at whynotehpod@gmail.com.
Join us next time as we bid farewell to Bill Mantlo as writer of Alpha Flight, and we get what is definitely the, last time we're going to say it this episode, weirdest issue yet.
Thanks, folks. See you then.